On 17 March 2023, the ICC issued warrants for Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, and Maria Lvova-Belova, Russia's Commissioner for Children's Rights. The court accuses them of war crimes related to the unlawful deportation and transfer of Ukrainian children from occupied areas of Ukraine to Russia. These acts are alleged to have occurred from at least 24th February 2022, the date Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and continued throughout 2022 and 2023. Under international law, forcibly transferring protected civilians, especially children, from occupied territory is a war crime. According to the ICC, thousands of Ukrainian children were taken from regions such as Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia, and moved into Russia or Russian-controlled areas, often without parental consent and with limited ability for families to reunite. Russian officials publicly defended these transfers, which strengthened the ICC's case that the policy was state-directed rather than accidental. Today, Putin remains free because Russia is not a member of the ICC and does not recognize its jurisdiction. The court has no police force and relies on member states to arrest suspects if they enter their territory. As a result, Putin avoids arrest by not traveling to ICC member countries. For example, he skipped in-person attendance at international events, such as the 2023 BRICS Summit in South Africa, an ICC member legally obligated to arrest him if he arrived. Additionally, Putin is protected domestically by Russia's political system and security apparatus. Until there is a major change in Russian leadership or he travels to a cooperative jurisdiction, the ICC warrant significantly restricts his movement, but does not place him in custody. 2. Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu appears on lists of world leaders accused of war crimes because of allegations linked to Israel's military campaign in Gaza following the Hamas attacks of October 7, 2023. The accusations are not convictions. They are claims under international law that remain legally contested. In May 2024, the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court announced that he had applied for arrest warrants against Netanyahu and Israel's then defense minister, Yoav Gallant. The prosecutor alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Gaza from October 8, 2023 onward. The core accusations include starvation of civilians as a method of warfare by restricting food, water, fuel, and medical supplies into Gaza, intentionally directing attacks against civilians, causing great suffering or serious injury through siege tactics and large-scale military operations, collective punishment of Gaza's civilian population. The prosecutor argued that these acts were part of a broader military policy rather than isolated incidents, occurring throughout late 2023 and 2024 during Israel's response to Hamas. Netanyahu has not been arrested for several reasons. First, Israel is not a member of the ICC, meaning the court has no direct enforcement power inside Israel. Second, the ICC depends on member states to carry out arrests. Without cooperation, warrants, if issued, remain unenforced. Third, Netanyahu limits travel to non-ICC countries or strong allies, reducing the risk of detention abroad. Fourth, Israel disputes the ICC's jurisdiction, arguing that it is not a party to the Rome Statute and that Israel's own legal system can investigate alleged misconduct internally. Finally, strong political and diplomatic backing, particularly from the United States, has helped shield him from practical consequences. As of now, Netanyahu remains free, with the legal process ongoing and the accusations unresolved. Min Aung Hlaing, the commander-in-chief of Myanmar's military and leader of the 2021 coup, is on lists of world leaders accused of war crimes because international prosecutors say he bears criminal responsibility for atrocities against the Rohingya Muslim minority. The International Criminal Court prosecutor requested an arrest warrant on 27 November 2024, alleging that Min Aung Hlaing oversaw the deportation and persecution of Rohingya civilians between 25 August and 31 December 2017, part of a brutal military campaign in Rakhine State that UN investigators described as involving mass rapes, arson, and forced displacement of more than 700,000 people into Bangladesh. Human rights groups, including Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, classify these actions as crimes against humanity and argue they reflect ethnic cleansing and genocidal intent. The ICC investigation began in 2019 and focused on crimes committed partly on the territory of Bangladesh, which is a member of the Rome Statute, giving the court jurisdiction. In addition to the ICC's request, a court in Argentina issued an international arrest warrant in February 2025, citing universal jurisdiction for genocide and crimes against humanity against the Rohingya. He remains free and not in custody because Myanmar is not a party to the ICC and refuses to recognize the court's authority, meaning it will not hand him over. Moreover, powerful allies such as China support Myanmar's ruling junta and do not enforce such warrants. And Min Aung Hlaing rarely travels to countries that are ICC members that could arrest him. Until he leaves Myanmar for a cooperating state or loses power, the warrants are mostly symbolic and unenforced. 4. Omar al-Bashir. Omar al-Bashir appears on the list of world leaders accused of war crimes because of his central role in atrocities committed during the Darfur conflict in Sudan, which began in 2003. As Sudan's president from 1989 to 2019, al-Bashir is accused of directing and supporting a brutal counterinsurgency campaign against rebel groups in Darfur. Sudanese government forces, working with Arab militias known as the Janjaweed, allegedly carried out mass killings, village burnings, rape, forced displacement, and ethnic persecution against non-Arab civilian populations, particularly the Fur, Masalit, and Zagawa ethnic groups. The International Criminal Court first issued an arrest warrant in March 2009, charging al-Bashir with war crimes and crimes against humanity, including murder, extermination, torture, and rape. A second warrant in July 2010 added charges of genocide, making him the first sitting head of state ever indicted by the ICC for genocide. The ICC estimates that around 300,000 people were killed and over 2.5 million displaced during the conflict between 2003 and 2008, with violence continuing in later years. Despite these warrants, al-Bashir avoided arrest for years by relying on state immunity, political alliances, and weak international enforcement. Sudan was not an ICC member, and many African and Middle Eastern countries refused to arrest him, arguing the ICC unfairly targeted African leaders. While in power, he continued to travel to friendly states without consequence. After being overthrown in 2019, al-Bashir was imprisoned in Sudan on corruption charges, but not handed over to the ICC. Ongoing political instability, military resistance, and later the 2023 Sudan Civil War have further delayed his transfer. As of today, he remains out of ICC custody, symbolizing how international justice can be obstructed by geopolitics and domestic turmoil. 5. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi appears on the list of world figures wanted by the International Criminal Court because of his alleged role in crimes committed during Libya's 2011 civil uprising. He is the son of former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi and was widely viewed at the time as his father's political heir and a central figure in the regime. In June 2011, the ICC issued an arrest warrant for Saif al-Islam Gaddafi on charges of crimes against humanity. According to the ICC prosecutor, he allegedly played a key role in a coordinated campaign by the Libyan state to violently suppress peaceful protests that began in February 2011, inspired by the wider Arab Spring. The alleged crimes include murder, imprisonment, and persecution of civilians perceived as opponents of the regime. The prosecution argues that Saif al-Islam used his influence, public speeches, and control over security forces to encourage and facilitate lethal force against demonstrators in cities such as Tripoli, Benghazi, and Misrata between February and August 2011. After the fall of the Gaddafi government and the death of Muammar Gaddafi in October 2011, Saif al-Islam was captured by a militia in Zintan in November 2011. Libya refused to hand him over to the ICC, insisting on trying him domestically. In 2015, a Libyan court sentenced him to death in absentia, but the ICC ruled that Libya had not conducted a genuine trial that met international standards. Saif al-Islam has avoided arrest largely due to Libya's political fragmentation. Competing governments, weak central authority, and the power of armed militias have made cooperation with the ICC inconsistent. Although reports suggest he was released under an amnesty law around 2017, his exact whereabouts have often been unclear. The ICC arrest warrant remains active, but without a unified Libyan state willing and able to enforce it, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi remains free.